Another long video here warning people about exploitation of elderly individuals. This is going to be the biggest underreported crime, underreported set of civil actions that we've seen since probably the Me Too movement. And that is, people right now don't really understand the definitions of exploitation. And so there are elders that are getting exploited every single day. Oftentimes they're being exploited by friends, by family members, by trusted people. And honestly, I think in a lot of these cases, the person doing the exploiting may not really be aware of it. So I want to be clear about what exploitation is by pointing to some statutes. So this comes from the Justice Department's website, and they just go through and they capture each individual state. So you can drop down any state in here. I'm focused on Florida, but the definitions are largely nationwide. And once people start to understand what exploitation means, they'll start to see just how broad this is. A critical thing to understand is that a vulnerable adult is not just an elderly person, right? So 18 years of age whose ability to perform the normal activities of daily living or to provide for their own care is impaired due to mental, emotional, or long-term damage. So think about this. I had a call come in just the other day by a youngish person who had gone through a really difficult divorce. So they were suffering in their mind very, very difficult circumstances and were taken advantage of. And what came to mind was vulnerable adult. You go and look at this definition. You're like, wait a minute. This is not just for grandmom, granddad, or gray hair. This could be somebody really young, goes through a bad breakup, goes through a bad divorce, and someone takes advantage of them. The new guy, new girl, the new whatever slips in there for somebody that's got money or doesn't and starts taking advantage of them. They get onto the title to property. They get onto the cards. They get onto the bank accounts. And lo and behold, the money's gone. Then we get into the criminal definitions of it. And this one gets into the elderly person. But it's important to understand that Adult Protective Services is not just elderly people, which is primarily what I'm focused on, but vulnerable adult means someone 18 years or older. So again, think about you're a parent, you got a 21-year-old kid, the girl's vulnerable, the guy's vulnerable, whatever, they go through a bad breakup, they're going through some rough circumstances. Understand that this concept of vulnerable adult could really step in and assist and provide some means to claw back what's been improperly taken. And, I've seen this happen innumerable times in my career. Younger person goes from one bad relationship to the next, and they get their stuff taken from them. Well, that's vulnerable adult, and the civil relief in particular that is provided there is a means for relief. Gets into elder abuse, which is even worse. We see this much more significantly, right? And that is, caregiver starts really taking advantage. And really the intent of this post was, that elder person who was absolutely slipping. Everyone knows mom or dad started to lose their capacity. And so the kid down here is taking care of them. And then they start dipping into the bank account. Well, it's critically important that we talk about this, understand what the definitions are, so that protections can be placed in and we can make clear what the reality of those problems are. There is an 800 number. The 800 number is with the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, and it gives you very quick answers, very important relief. I say to anybody, if you have a question about it, it's important that you call in and make that report so that at least your conscience is clear and something has gone wrong. So what happens if you find out that, the bad brother, bad sister, whatever, was taking advantage of mom or dad? Well, there are very important protections that come with this exploitation thing. And that's the ability for you, the good one, the person that's done the reporting, to step back in, help them, recapture that money, get mom into the facility she needs to be into, hold the wrongdoer accountable. Elder exploitation abuse, if you've got examples of it or questions, please drop a comment in here.